From cornfields to high-rises, office to industrial, houses to hotels, and every other asset class in real estate, we cover the people, the projects, and the profit. Welcome to the Investing in Iowa show. This show is for go-doers, action takers, and business owners. It's for people like you who are sick of Uncle Sam taking a huge bite of your apple. If you're looking to get ahead of what's taking place in Iowa, learn who is doing what, and how you can get in on the action, you're in the right place. Hosted by Neil Timmons, an Iowa native who has been involved in over $300 million in real estate right here in Iowa. Recording in studio from West Des Moines, here's your host, Neil Timmons.
I got Kolby Jones here. Kolby, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here, Neil Timmons.
I'm excited that you're here. Say, for the audience's sake, who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
No problem. Born in Waterloo, Iowa. Some good old Iowa boy. Yeah. And thinking when I was 6, we moved to West Des Moines and had always been in West Des Moines. I was lucky enough in college to get a scholarship to go to Florida State University, the Florida State University. Went there on a track scholarship, ended up playing football for a while there too. So it's fun doing the 2 sports at Florida State. This was back in their glory years when they were really good at football. Yeah. We've had a little bit of a slide since then, but and then after college, stayed down in Florida for about 12 years, moved back to Iowa, met my wife in Iowa when I had moved back. I was 31 years old. And after that, I spent the next, 8-9 years trying to convince her to get back down to Florida, which I was finally successful in doing. We moved to Naples. We were in Naples for 2.5 years, but I was home. It kept calling me back. So here I am back in Iowa.
Yeah, no, that's terrific. I didn't know, you and I have known each other for, 30 years probably.
Forever.
Yeah. I didn't know you were actually originally from Waterloo.
Waterloo, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right, so go to high school here, do everything, and get an offer down in Florida. It certainly had other choices, but Florida, Florida State, had a heck of a program, and so it was probably an easy choice, I suspect.
Yeah, I remember, being 10 years old and watching Florida State around Thanksgiving and just being like, wow, what an awesome place. And I fell in love with it for whatever reason. Yeah. Ironically, after that happened, my stepdad was a Florida State grad and got me even kind of more excited about going to school there. Yeah. And so I applied to one school, and it's where I was going. It was my dream school. Yeah. I was lucky enough that my high school track coach called down to Florida State and said, hey, we got a kid with a lot of offers, but he's in love with Florida State. It's where he's going. You need to take a look at him. Yeah. So they looked at me and decided to take a roll of the dice on a kid from Iowa. So
how did sports play a role, or how has it in your business and your professional career?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, first of all, when you're meeting with people and building relationships, it's pretty cool to say that you played football for Bobby Bowden. Yes. Everyone's pretty excited to hear about that, and it's an immediate icebreaker, and a lot of people want to talk about it, and what was he really like, and all that fun stuff. And I think also just being an athlete, especially at that level, like I said, back then, Florida State was awesome. My freshman year, we won the national championship, big school to go to. And I think it was just being able to handle the day-to-day tasks and pressures of being a high-level Division I athlete. And I think it was also just, when times got tough, you were well-suited to push through that. And, being in real estate and investing, there's some tough days and tough times. And having that athletic background of it's been really challenging and my day's been awful, and it would be really easy to kind of hang it up and go watch Netflix. It's no, man, you got to put the hat back on and just keep rolling hard. So
I'm curious about the nuances between the 2 sports, right? So I, as you know, I played football, but I did not do track.
Yeah.
I'm curious, did you learn something different from each sport?
Yeah, for sure. You'd be surprised to hear this, but track was a lot harder than football.
I actually for a fast slow guy, I believe it.
Yeah, those practices were brutal, and I wasn't blessed with endurance. I was blessed with explosiveness. Yeah. And so, preseason at track, having to go and do those workouts, it just dropped me. It was very, very challenging. Yeah. And definitely really helped with everything mental with me of just being able to push through barriers, because it wasn't naturally something I could do. Now I tell people oh, it's so hard for me to run a mile. And they're like, you're a runner. I'm like, no, I wasn't a runner. I was a sprinter. Big difference.
Yes.
And so I really like learned kind of like that mental aspect of being able to push through barriers, especially in the preseason going through that. Because once you get to season, that's the easy part, right? That's the fun part. That's where you go and you compete. And, it's like, what do they say that like, practice is where you win your medals. And then in the meet is where you go pick them up. Yeah. So, and then, football, kind of the same thing, it was breaking through those mental barriers. And in football, I was stretching trying to play football at Florida State. Those guys crushed me. They were all big, fast guys, and it was just a level of athleticism I had not seen before, and it was challenging. So I did football 2 years, and it was a lot. So it was fun. There were definitely the differences between the two sports, but I think at the end of the day, both of them were just kind of like you think of sports as such a physical thing, but like that mental aspect of it is, not to be overlooked.
Yeah. All right. So graduate, stay in Florida. What do you do professionally?
Yeah. So I work for Caliber Realty, and professionally, I am mostly working on anything from development projects to brokerage, anything and everything real estate. So at Caliber, we're vertically integrated, which is great. We can do everything from site selection all the way up to leasing a property management, just kind of the whole gamut. And so kind of work on all aspects of that. I run around doing a lot of brokerage. I kind of had carved out this niche in convenience stores. Yeah. So work a lot on the investing in convenience stores, mergers and acquisitions with convenience stores, site development with convenience stores. So I have various clients that I work with to go through that process as well.
So Moines like the convenience store mecca. I don't know. Between the headquarters of Come and Go, who's now sold on to Maverick, and then Casey's, it'd be tough to find another city with as many HQs as here.
I'll tell you what. So when I first started at Yesway, when I first came on, we had just put under contract our first 10 stores that we were going to buy. Yesway is now at 450 locations, but Des Moines is going to be like the headquarters, right? So we were just going to buy our first 10 stores. And we had this mergers and acquisitions rollout program, which we have done and executed, and it showed that we could execute. And so they hired me, and I'm kind of meddling around in Iowa, but we weren't necessarily closed off to other states. But we were like, well, let's build this kind of base in Iowa, and then we can start looking at deals in other states and just kind of growing from there. And it was kind of one of those things where right away I'm like, Iowa's tough. It is so competitive. Yes. These guys are Come and Go is so good. Yeah. Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh is so good. Casey's is so good. Quick Trip with a Q, Quick Trip with a K. Yeah. It is just, there is no better place for convenience stores than Iowa, and it's not close. And so we had a big acquisition down in Texas, and we're like, oh, this is a lot easier. Why don't we focus here? So now all of our dollars are going to Texas and New Mexico because Iowa's it's so competitive. It's so hard here.
Yeah, that's incredible. All right, so Caliber is the firm in which you work for. Yesway is your client.
My client,
ultimately.
Yep.
Who you've worked with them for years in this convenience store.
Yeah, they were my employer. I was a W-2 at Yesway, and then they switched over. And once I went full-time with Caliber, they were my first client. And so it's continued to work with them, and they're a phenomenal organization.
And so your primary, is it fair to say your primary role with them is site selection, or is it go way past that?
Yep, site selection, mostly in Texas, but doing stuff all over. I just sold 6 stores for them here in Iowa. And they're, right now, I think they still have a portfolio of 35 stores in Iowa. So keeping our options open in this state, but they're in a lot of other ones. But yeah, right now, I think that the company, Yesway, would really like me to have my blinders on and really just finding new stores for them in Texas because they can't grow fast enough.
Yeah. I always think that's interesting. And a lot of people outside looking in, if you're not really intimately familiar with what this looks like and how the roles work. You're here, you live here, you do everything here, but you largely have a state of Texas to focus on in terms of acquisition of property. So you probably end up there traveling a little bit for doing some site selection work.
That's right. So down in Texas a lot. I actually still have my broker's license in Florida. Okay. So I have a couple clients that are down in Florida that I'm still servicing. And so just kind of bouncing around wherever. And sometimes those clients, maybe they want to be in Tennessee or wherever. And if we can help them or service them there, we certainly will. But I would say, like my large focus is Iowa, Texas, Florida.
Yeah. What attracted Yesway? I'm curious from the very beginning to start in Iowa versus
anywhere,
29 others.
Yeah, maybe they were excited by all the convenience stores that were here. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it might have also been, I think, when they found that first portfolio, it happened to be in Iowa.
Yeah.
And so there was like, okay, well, I guess this is where we'll start.
Yeah.
And their program initially was, so when they were going out and buying these stores, so they were looking at, this was just going to be a mergers and acquisitions. They did not intend to develop until they kind of fall into it. So that was like 6 years after they had started the mergers and acquisitions program.
Yeah.
And so when we did it, it was all about like operations and being close operationally, because we didn't want to have, 10 stores in Iowa and then 10 stores in, wherever, Washington. So we wanted to keep it close for operations standpoint. And the way we originally started with the mergers and acquisitions was we were trying to buy everything on a 5 times multiple of EBITDA or NOI. Right? And so that was the original strategy. And it was kind of like, let's go pick up like a bunch of onesie, twosie, mom and pops. And maybe we can even buy some of these at a 4X.
Yeah.
But let's not pay more than a 5X.
Right.
Well, what we found out is like, if you buy crap, you kind of get left with crap. Those initial first stores that we bought were not great. They were not great acquisitions. Yeah. Well, as we wanted to start buying larger portfolios, well, no more were we in 5X land. We're now more in 6.5, 7X land. And I think it took a long time for the executive team to be like, this wasn't exactly what the game plan was. Yep. Maybe not exactly what we told investors what we were going to do, but we should do it. So then we make this jump and we start buying these larger portfolios, but better portfolios, higher performing stores. And what did we find? Hey, those make money. Those are a lot better.
Right.
And it just lifted everything up. And then from then on, I don't think it's like we never wanted to overpay, but we weren't afraid to look at the more expensive and good stuff because we thought, okay, if we have something good that's strong, we can take that, we can put a little bit of love or value add into it, and we can see a big return from that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Hi, it's Ava Baukamp, the Investment Relations Manager for Neil's firm, Legacy Impact Investors. I'm inviting you to join us for our next investor workshop, our monthly legacy briefings. In these tactical Zoom calls, we cover topics and case studies for subjects such as taxes and depreciation, navigating macroeconomic shifts, and evaluating deals as a passive investor. At each virtual workshop, we are joined by an industry guest who covers their topic in 45 minutes or less. No fluff, no pitches, just education and conversation with an expert each month. Every workshop ends with live Q&A from Neil and our guest. All briefings happen on the last Tuesday of the month at 3 p.m. Central. If you can't make it live, recordings are sent out exclusively to those who've registered in advance. To join us on the last Tuesday of this month, visit legacybriefing.com. Go to legacybriefing.com to register. If you're a first-time registrant, I'll send you a free resource at sign up. Head to legacybriefing.com and I'll see you soon.
No, it's incredible, the convenience store space, and it's going to be fun to see how it evolves over a period of time. Everybody talks about these electric cars, and it's going to take a long time. If you see how many are out there percentage-wise compared to gas or diesel vehicles, it's a mere fraction. So it's going to take it may be decades, but we'll see how things roll out. And people still need, past how you get your fuel, there's a lot of the net dollars in those convenience stores are driven from inside sales.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a slow adoption rate to get there. And look, you have a company like ours. So we're Yesway, our convenience store company. We're funded by a private equity group out of Boston. These are very smart people. They're throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at this. Like if they didn't believe that there was a future for gas, they would not be making that move.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Talk to me about, the restaurant space. You've got a little exposure, I understand, personally in the restaurant space and some background there in some holdings in Iowa.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So probably, 12, 14 years ago, my sister had married a restaurateur, and I was just kind of always all over him, like, give me the deal. Like, I want to own a restaurant, or maybe I want to own a bar or whatever. I thought it was cool. I was single and young and dumb and all that fun stuff.
Sure.
So I got into my first deal. He gave me an opportunity in Kansas City to get in with him. And so that was kind of my first entrance into it. Got lucky because, as we know, the statistics are, very high percentage of them fail.
Correct.
And so I was able to get into the one in Kansas City. It was a home run. It was a great deal. Great deal for everybody. So that was really exciting. And, it kind of got me excited about it. And then had an opportunity to join my best high school friend to do a joint venture here in Des Moines. It's called Bubba. It's downtown. and jumped into that. It's been a great experience. Hats off to him and the team. Like, they did a great job. I really didn't do a lot with it. I was kind of the real estate and investing and nerd behind the computer guy.
Sure.
They run the show, is their concept, and they've really done a nice job with it. So then we tried to go for my third one, which was a mistake, and we tried to do a deal over on Ingersoll in Des Moines, and that never caught on fire. So that was no good.
What do you attribute that one to? To me, it seems like first, the restaurant space, as you said. I mean, it is a challenging space.
Yeah,
and I suspect that when it goes really well, the rewards are incredible.
Yep.
And when it doesn't, it may be a strikeout, and that's kind of the way it rolls in the space. It's just that it's got a higher risk profile than, say
anything.
Let's say a whole bunch of just straight real estate plays.
I think there were two factors. Number one, I think that the challenge is that, like, having Bubba and having a downtown high volume restaurant, we tried to go from that to like the neighborhood bar. Mm. I think those two different things are run completely separately.
Sure.
We were not set up or like had maybe the information, whatever we needed to run that type of restaurant, that neighborhood bar and grill, lean and mean.
Yep.
We just weren't set up like that.
Yep.
I think that was a challenge. Also, I think just like the theme of the restaurant, I think we were confused whether we were a sports bar or we were the bistro where like some old lady went and got a soup and sandwich. And not having like a clear vision of what exactly we were, I think that was a big challenge too. And it's not like we didn't try to pivot. We did, but we got hampered with COVID and all the other excuses that somebody can make as to why it didn't work. But a very, very expensive lesson for me to learn, but probably a good one.
How does real estate play a role in the restaurant space?
Yeah, well, I think like anything, if you have good real estate, it's going to help everything. Yeah. Restaurant, like it's not that real estate's not important with the restaurant, but you can probably think of some restaurants around town where you're like, yeah, real estate's not great, but they're always busy.
Yeah.
Right. Because they've done a good job. Because they have good quality of food and they have good service and all the stuff that you want. So it definitely plays a role, especially as you look at like the fast feeders and you have a Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, like you got to have high traffic counts. You have to have good access.
Correct.
You have to have all that stuff or people aren't going to stop. Right. So I think that some restaurants are maybe more dependent on that than others.
Yep.
So,
yeah. So you're certainly right. Some restaurants become destinations, and some just require that foot or car traffic, that's required to be able to fuel it.
Yeah.
When you look forward to the balance of this year and next year, what are you most excited about? What are you digging into?
Yeah, I really am excited about the growth of Caliber. Working there has just been really amazing so far. Nick Jensen's the owner of Caliber. He has done just a phenomenal job, very kind of quietly under the radar.
Yes.
In Des Moines, it's kind of, one day you haven't heard of him and the next day it's like, man, every time I turn around the corner, I see a sign for Caliber.
Correct.
He's been very busy and just being able to, I think, I guess ride his coattails or be able to come into his company and contribute any way I can. Like that is what is most exciting to me. A lot of even though I've had roles as working for retailer, brokerage, a lot of everything that I've done has been development related. And I've really always enjoyed that piece of it. And I mean, he's building very fast. He's building a lot. And so having that development aspect of my job is super exciting to me. So.
It's pretty exciting from the outside looking in to see all the contributions that he's making to the city, and the organization, because it's tremendous leadership on his part, execution from the team's part, and it's a big organization today.
Yeah, big organization, and the flexibility is great too because it's not like we're just shoehorned into just doing a 4-rent townhome,
right?
And we're not just doing a 4-story structure. We have a lot of different prototypes that we can roll out and a lot of different things, and I think having that flexibility and just having a great team where you can, see something new and see that vision and then go execute it. It's really amazing. So it's been fun.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Question for you. Why Iowa? You spent a lot of time in Florida and you can go back. You could go live in Texas. I suspect yes, we would love that.
Yeah.
But why do you choose to be here? Why do you choose to invest here? Why do you choose to put restaurants here and raise a family here?
Other than missing the winters. So, you probably know, but anyone who knows me well enough knows, like, I do not like the cold. I am a Florida boy. Yeah. I like the sun. It's never hot enough for me.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of always been home, right? Like, I was born and raised here until I went off to school. And my wife's family is from Iowa. And really, it's a great place. When you think about like real estate in Florida or almost any business, you have just these dramatic highs and lows, and it becomes challenging at times to try to navigate through that. Iowa is just like a nice, steady upward growth, and you got to really like that and accept that and appreciate that and all that good stuff. So I think that's a big part of it. I'll tell you the other thing, be down in Florida. So we were in Collier County in Naples with the kids. And it's really interesting because, there, that was kind of like the gold standard of Florida for schools. And it was like, oh, yeah, it's some of the best schools in Florida in Collier County. Yeah. And, I'll tell you what, it ain't like Iowa, which is awesome, right? Like, Iowa, just the schools here, the community, it's really unbeatable. It really is. And it's just a huge perk of being back. So we're excited to be back. I promised my wife when we moved back, I'm like, I'm going to have my happy pants on. I'm going to be okay. We have a little side deal. Like if I get cold, I'm jumping on a plane. I'm heading south. Yeah. So we're good. And that has happened.
Yeah.
So,
no, good. Let's do this. I want to move on to the final segment. What I call the final three, if you're ready for it.
Yep.
One piece of advice that you would give your 20-year-old self.
Ooh, good. I think at 20, I would have definitely paid more attention to research and reading. I think that I didn't really start doing that until my late 20s, and I always kick myself for not starting earlier. I think that's helped me a lot in my career, and the research piece of that, like studying other people and what they've done in front of me. I think when I was younger and just starting off, I caught a little bit of success in the beginning, but it's, because it was, 03, 04, 05 down in Florida and everything was going crazy. Yeah. So I thought maybe I knew best or I knew what I was doing when really I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. And so I think if I would have had kind of like that initial, basic understanding of business and how everything went and worked, and just, I think that would have really helped me a lot. And I wish I would have done more of that. I wish I would have taken a little more time, and instead of hitting the gas on everything with, sales and trying to bring in money, just taking a step back and really try to research and learn before just going full speed into trying to, be a production guy. So
2 books that changed your life.
Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins, and Mindset by Carol Dweck.
3 things that if you were cast away on an island for a year, the 3 things that you must know every month to know if your business is on track.
Oh, what a question. Okay. Sales, labor, and oof. Man, I just want a full report of everything. Man, I think just progress. Just knowing what's going on. Yep.
Yeah. Where does your mind go when I ask that question? Does it go to the restaurant business, to go to the brokerage business, go to the development business, or the yes way? Or there's naturally got a multitude of things.
Yeah. Ironically, with all the real estate stuff I do, it kind of encapsulates almost all of my time.
Right.
It almost went to my other businesses, at the restaurant, and I have my Vitamin Energy, which I gave you. I don't know if it's clear or not yet, but so I'm an investor and a board member of an energy shot company, and although I have no day-to-day responsibilities, it's something I'm interested in, and it's something that I like to watch and monitor. So I think when you asked that, my mind actually kind of went to that, and it kind of went to my restaurant. I don't know if that's just because it's more business. I'm not really sure.
If you're a house flipper, execute the burst strategy or do double closings and are in need of money, Little Guy Loans is your go-to lender here in the Des Moines area. Time is money. Loan approvals in 24 hours. Closings in 5 days. Little Guy Loans was founded by Neil Timmons, an investor just like you. Since he has been in over 10,000 homes in Des Moines, there's never an appraisal. Houses, multifamily, and commercial property loans up to $1 million. Check out www.littleguyloans.com.
But it seems is very operational heavy in those spaces. I'm wondering if that's where it went.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's because in those businesses, I'm so dependent upon other people.
Yes.
And I think that maybe with the real estate stuff, I take a lot of that ownership on myself. And so I think that like, it's always like, it's on me, and like whether, whatever amount of success I have, that's a direct result of me. Now, when you have some of these businesses, you got sales guys and you got production guys and you got whatever. So that, you're a lot more dependent on other people to execute or help execute for you. And that all goes back to hiring a good team and having good managers and everything else that you need in place to execute that. But
you mentioned the energy company. Tell us a little more about that.
Yeah. So one of my best buddies from college started this energy shot company, Vitamin Energy. Kind of a funny story about how he bought the naming rights from Coca-Cola and decided to roll out an energy shot. It's been really fun. It has been nothing but a uphill battle, but it's one that we're swinging our sword and doing a really good job of. And just me, really kind of sitting on the sidelines and watching this, it's really been fun just to watch how all of that has transpired and taken place. And, the big leader in that market is 5 Hour Energy. Right. And, so like we're just trying to take some of their pie, and it's hard. And it's really been fun.
It's interesting that you told me this. We talked the other day. You told me the story about how they got the naming rights from Coca-Cola. Yeah, it's fun to think about the genesis of that, where it all came from, and then the ability to chip away at a market share, which the market has to be enormous, and you've got a 800-pound gorilla with the share of the market.
Yeah, it's a great market. I'm really into the health and fitness sector, and having a shot like this, it's like 5 Hour, like super synthetic. I'm sure they're not going to appreciate me saying that, but it is. But our product, like it's all natural. So like for me, like I wouldn't drink 5 Hour unless I was in like, I don't know, unless I had to. But like our product, it's all natural. The caffeine comes from green tea extract. Like it's great. It's just a great product. And I'm like super excited about it. My wife is completely addicted to it. She takes it every morning. And I'm fairly addicted to it. I mean, I probably take one every day. Yeah. And it's just, I just feel it's like you take it and you like just feel good, right? Like it's like you're not drinking crap. Like you're not drinking soda. Like you're drinking something that's like really healthy for you. I mean, it's chock full of vitamins, and it's got energy in it. And it's just it's a great deal. So.
But to me, it seems like, from your background in sports, especially in the track side, which to me, you have to be way more disciplined than the football side and the physical piece, because you're on a clock.
Yeah.
Right. Especially on the sprinting side, and you are a fit guy. So it seems to be like this is right in line with energy and health to perfectly align with how you live and then ultimately how you execute day in and day out, being physically fit to be mentally fit.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, I don't know if it's that important, but like even just that like fitness aspect of it. I mean, every day up at 4:30, go to the gym. It's how I start my day. It kind of grounds me. And it's just, I drank the CrossFit Kool-Aid 3 years ago and just kind of like went all in on it. And I'm not very good at it. I'm not naturally built for endurance. I have no mobility, but I try my best. And I've gone to competitions and it's been fun. So as I try to like, it's like every day I can get like a little bit better. I'm really just competing against myself or trying to be better than I was the day before. But, it's like I tell my wife all the time, because I'm like, look, like, she might say like, oh, I should go work out, and I'm like, hey, look, it's not for the aesthetic. It's for your mind. Like, it is so good to go do that. Like, just get up and do it every day. Like, just do something. Like, so yeah, I'm pretty big. I bang that drum pretty loud.
Yeah, no, that's terrific. I appreciate you coming on, and this has been a fun conversation, learning about playing sports, your background in Florida, then in real estate, and then all your varied interests, and making Iowa the home to the HQ for you to be able to execute everything. What's one thing I should have asked that I did not ask?
Could ask about my kids. Very proud of my kids.
Yeah.
So I have my little one. She's 9. She's a gymnast.
Yes.
She is just phenomenal. So it's really fun watching her. She's like a perfect mix of me and her mom.
Okay.
She's strong, but she's flexible.
Okay.
Suits her well for gymnastics. She loves it. Yeah. She just made some new team or whatever, and they're going to start practicing like 4 hours a day. It's like wild, right? Yeah. And I'm just like, are you going to be okay 4 hours a day? She's like, I'd go 8 hours a day if I could, Dad. And then my oldest daughter, Alan, she's a freshman at Dowling, and it's just been like super fun watching her career. And it's a really cool thing. So she's not my biological daughter. I met Adeline when she was 3, but we've kind of been hip to hip every day since. I'm dad. And it's just been really cool because it's like, we hear almost every day, like either like, oh yeah, you guys look alike, or oh, like with all of her athletic stuff, like, oh yeah, just like dad, and she does a long jump, she's a sprinter, she's incredible, she does all kind of stuff. She's great at volleyball, basketball. She's on attack for basketball, the big travel team here in Iowa. And it's just really cool because she's just, she's got 3 sports. She does all the travel stuff. She does all the school stuff, and she's just excelling and doing great. And she works hard, and I'm like super proud of her, and it's been really fun. It's been a fun ride. So it's a huge part of my life because my other job we didn't talk about was being an Uber driver. So I'm just driving these kids to all their sports. So lots of calls in the car, and lots of probably texting when I shouldn't be, trying to, complete my work day. But
yeah, a freshman, she's getting there to that spot where she's gonna be able to drive and then do it all, and you'll find a newfound freedom there as soon as she can. Shuttle herself around.
I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also a little like, like those car rides are awesome times with us to bond. And like, it's really cool because like when we leave a practice or a game, it's like some of the dads are like, oh yeah, we get in the car after the game and the kid puts her headphones in and she's gone. Yeah. And it's like she's like, okay, dad, what'd I do good? What'd I do bad? What can I do better at? Like, and so like, that's like a great time for us. And then it leads into other conversations, not sports related, whether it's friends or whatever else. And so like, I'll miss that a lot. But
the days are fleeting. I read a stat a number of years ago. 80% of the time you spend with your child is spent before the age of 12. 90% of the time you ever spend with your child is spent before they're 18.
Wow.
So, and I can relate to a lot of what you're saying, that some days you're like, it's intense. It could be a lot. And you're driving around, you're shuffling everything.
Yeah.
And then you just think it's only a handful of years and poof.
Yeah.
It's gone.
That I say that all the time. And it's like, I tell my wife, like, cause I'm like the crazy dad that I'll go sit there and watch her practices.
Yeah.
And my wife, why are you watching her practices? Like, you could be working or blah, blah. I'm like, dude, this could be gone like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be over.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like things I don't negotiate. I don't miss games. I like rarely even miss a practice. Like her high school stuff now, they don't want me around. Right. Any the travel stuff, like I'm watching it, I'm like dialed in, and it's like, it's also because she wants that, like, hey, what, like she wants that, what did we do good? What did we do bad? How can we get better? So, and it's just, I'm afraid to miss any of that stuff. I know it's over soon.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's incredible that she sinks her teeth into it so much and wants that feedback. And it's amazing when a child can have, their number one fan as their parent.
Yeah.
And that sense of, somebody pouring into you, it's past sports, it deeply affects your life forever.
Yeah. Well, when we talk about after a competition or whatever, it's never about like, how did you how did you feel about my performance level? Because for me, I'm always indifferent. Like, what I care about is your effort and your attitude. So that's what I hammer on her. And I'm like, hey, listen, if you're looking like in the event that you want to go to the next level, and whether it's like college sports or whatever, like the coaches, like you're going to do what you're going to do athletically. They're looking at your body language. They're looking at how hard you try. They're looking at what kind of teammate you are. Like that's the important stuff. And like drilling into those, and she's been great about that, but I've been in her ear since she's been 3. So, it's like she, there's no questions, like there's no mincing of words. She knows what to do, but she does it, and she's great at it. So
focus on the inputs, and the outputs will take care of themselves.
Yeah.
No, it's terrific. Kolby, thanks for being here.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. It's fun.
Thanks for listening. If you're enjoying the show, may I ask a favor of you? Naturally, subscribe so you never miss an episode. But would you rate and leave an honest written review on Apple Podcasts? It does a lot for us here at the show, and I appreciate reading your thoughts. Great guests make for a great show. If you know of another Iowan who would be a great guest, or you yourself have interest in being a guest, well, get on our radar. Visit Investing in Iowa to fill out an application or recommend a guest. And if you want to connect with me one-on-one, go to LegacyImpactInvestors.com. Click on the Invest With Us button in the top right corner, and there you can pick a time for the two of us to get on the calendar and connect. Until next time, keep investing in Iowa.